In my last video, I discussed 5 Yu-Gi-Oh decks that I absolutely adore and would play any day of the week. They included fun interactions, interesting mechanics, and an all-around joy to play, even if they weren't very meta. This video serves to be its counterpart in the fact that there are also decks that I hate playing against. Every reason from being too floodgate heavy to not letting the opponent interact at all, these decks prove time and time again that I never have fun when facing them. Here are my top 5 least favorite decks to play against in Yu-Gi-Oh! Starting off the list at number 5 is Floowandereeze. Floowandereeze is an archetype that focuses on normal/tribute summoning multiple times per turn that debuted in Burst of Destiny. The archetype is composed of level 1 and level 10 water and wind winged beast monsters themed around the migratory journey of 3 Arctic terns passing through different continents and encountering different birds. The name Floowandereeze is a portmanteau of the words flew, wander, and breeze. Who would have known? The deck also has many cards dedicated to making plays on your opponent's turn as well. Boss monsters such as Floowandereeze and M-Pen really make the deck go round, not only being a searcher, but a floodgate as well. Since the Floowandereeze cards don't mind being banished, players often use cards like Dimension Shifter to shut down opponents' graveyard strategies while continuing to combo, all without special summoning for the most part, which also dodges many floodgates. The main thing I hate about this deck is the fact that my opponent goes all fucking communist and says, "Your turn? No, our turn." Besides that, there are also some unintentional synergies with other winged beast monsters like Ryza the Mega Monarch and Mist Valley Apex Avian, both who can be easily tribute summoned on your turn to completely fuck up your strategy. The fact that this deck can even benefit from a stupid floodgate like Dimension Shifter is a wonder I've ever even decided to not scoop after one turn. To be fair, it is the only deck I'd actually consider playing on this list, so it's only at the number 5 spot. And at number 4 is Dragon Link. Dragon Link is a deck that primarily revolves around special summoning powerful dragon-type monsters from the extra deck by sending monsters to the graveyard from either deck, field, or hand. The deck uses Link monsters to facilitate these special summons and generate card advantage. Key cards like Borreload Savage Dragon and Striker Dragon are commonly used in this deck. The strategy aims to overwhelm the opponent with formidable dragon monsters and disruption, making it a versatile and potent deck. Now, the main thing I actually hate about Dragon Link is honestly that it's so boring to play against. First turn plays are so predictable. Go into Striker Dragon, go into Dragoonity Knight Romulus, use Romulus to grab Dragon Ravine, use Dragon Ravine to dump a dragon that has an effect in the graveyard, combo off with more dark dragons like the rocket monsters. It's a mishmash deck with a not so mishmash strategy that can be pretty annoying to deal with going second, with Savage Dragon having that Omni negate. These days, it's rather easy to deal with a Dragon Link end board if you have the right outs, and that's why I put it at such a low spot. And about halfway through our list, we have number 3, Runick. Unlike most decks, Runick does not focus on damaging life points, but instead wins by banishing cards off the top of your opponent's deck to force a deck out. It's composed of light and dark fusion monsters that are either fairy or beast type, most of them having 0 attack, aside from Frecky the Runick Fangs, who has 2,000, and Sleipnir the Runick Main, who has 1,500, but is almost entirely spell cards with no monster cards or trap cards in the main deck. The majority of the Runick cards are quick play spells, which can disrupt the opponent's plays and banish cards off the top of your opponent's deck, or special summon one of their fusion monsters from the extra deck to an unoccupied extra monster zone. However, you can only activate each of the quick play spells once per turn, and are forced to skip your next battle phase after they resolve. A drawback that does not negatively impact them greatly, as their monsters will never be doing any attacking themselves. Their main card is the field spell Runick Fountain, which they rely on to allow their quick play spells to be activated from the hand on the opponent's turn and to recycle them, while providing draw power. God damn, I hated going up against this deck in Master Duel. It ran way more rampant there than it did in the TCG. It did receive some semi-limits on the Master Duel ban list, so its consistency was slightly nerfed, but it must have been enough because Runick had a drastic drop-off. You see what I did there? To be honest, if I saw I was facing a Runick deck and their first turn started popping off, I'd most likely surrender right then and there. It's not worth watching my deck slowly get depleted while I can't do shit about it. The only reason it's in the middle of the pack is because it's not really prevalent in the Master Duel meta anymore. And at the runner-up spot is number 2, Mikanko. Mikanko is a ritual monster theme focused on doing battle and using various equipped spell cards. All monsters of this theme have 0 attack and defense, with effects that reflect the damage you would take from battle right back to your opponent. For the non-ritual monsters, this is done through being equipped with equip cards, which also cause those monsters to activate their own additional effects. Hey folks, I have some advice for you, and I know it's gonna be hard for most Yu-Gi-Oh players to comprehend, but hear me out. Read cards. Because when I first faced this deck in Master Duel, I didn't think much of this ritual-focused deck. Weak-ass monsters with no attack and defense attacking into my monsters, it must be a new variant on the self-TK, which is a strategy that aims to lose as quickly as possible for some stupid farming reasons. But to my surprise, no, it's a semi-competent rogue strategy that is quite annoying if not prepared. Its equip cards, if in any truly meta threat, will be broken all to hell. When I tell you I hate the Mikanko deck, I really mean it, earning the runner-up on my list. And our winner, or in this case loser, is number 1, Kashtira. Kashtira is an archetype focused on primarily level 7 psychic monsters and banishing cards face down. Most members of the archetype, excluding Kashtira Rise Heart, are level 7 monsters able to special summon themselves if the player controls no monsters, or by some other condition, such as with Scareclaw Kashtira and Tearlament's Kashtira, are able to search cards while on the field and can banish their opponent's cards from various different locations if they attack, or if the opponent activates a monster effect. The UFO level 7 Kashtira monsters, Unicorn, Fenrir, and Ogre, are the key playmakers of the deck. Each of the UFO trio can be special summoned if you have no monsters on your field. Each has an effect to search Kashtira monsters, spells, or trap cards, and each has an effect to banish opponent's cards face down from various places whenever they attack or any of the opponent's monsters activate their effects. They also have 2 boss XZ monsters called Kashtira Shangri-Ira and the final boss Kashtira Arise Heart, which are both awful to play against in their own right. Shangri-Ira not only gets dudes out onto the field from the deck each standby phase, but its other effect can lock out your entire monster spell and trap zones if done right. Since Kashtira is great at banishing cards face down, that effect to block out zones is not even a soft once per turn, so theoretically it can just say no to the opponent's turn. But its main boss monster, Arise Heart, is something else. I would like to say that it's banned in the TCG, and rightfully so, but in Master Duel, it's completely unlimited. For one thing, it's a walking macrocosmos, making its other effects super easy to trigger. Once per chain, mind you. If a card is banished at all, you have to attach one of any banished card to this one as material. Also, on a soft once per turn, and on a quick effect, you can detach 3 materials from this guy to target any card on the field and banish it face down. What a boss monster. You'd think Konami would have learned by now to make certain effects a hard once per turn, but I guess not. The rest of the Kashtira decks synergizes super well with each other, as well as several other decks in the format to create a true meta powerhouse. I hate playing against it, and while I do honestly respect the main deck Kashtira monsters, I can't, in good faith, root for most of the other cards. Master Duel, please nerf this deck into oblivion. I know it already has some hits, if you can call it that, but it's honestly not enough. Okay, rant over. To be honest, I'm glad I don't have to talk about these decks anymore today. Now, if only I didn't have to worry about them in Master Duel. Anyway, that's it for my time, guys. Remember to like the video, subscribe if you're new here to become a scrub-scriber, and comment down below how much you hate me for talking shit on your favorite deck, or just list your least favorite decks to play against. Maybe that would be less toxic. And I will see you guys next time.